There's a political earthquake rumbling just beneath the surface of American politics. It's concentrated on the one issue the GOP has long considered its home turf, the economy. This isn't just a minor tremor, it's a potential seismic shift. For years, the Republican Party has operated on the core assumption that when voters think about their wallets, they vote GOP. What if the voters most concerned with inflation and the cost of living are considering a change? That's what some of the latest data suggests, and if it holds, it points toward a potential catastrophe for the party in the 2026 midterm elections. Today, we're breaking down the numbers and explaining what's driving this potential swing and analyzing why it could spell trouble for the GOP. The big reveal. So let's get straight to the number that could change the entire political calculus heading into 2026. Some recent polling analysis has raised a startling possibility that among voters who say the economy or inflation is their top issue, Democrats could build a lead as high as 12 to 13 points in the generic congressional ballot. Think about that. Voters who prioritize the economy aren't just leaning Republican or tied. In this scenario, they're favoring Democrats by a double-digit margin. To call this a reversal would be an understatement. It would be a political tsunami. This would be a shocking departure from historical patterns where Republicans have traditionally held an advantage with this exact group. While not a definitive trend, this aligns with some surprising results we've seen in recent special elections. For instance, in December 2025 special election in Tennessee, Democrats overperformed their 2024 results by a significant margin. This isn't just a poll, it's a confirmation of a potential trend that is starting to build. The group may be fundamentally shifting, and the group of voters that Republicans have often taken for granted could be looking in the other direction. So what does this mean? It means the central pillar of the Republican strategy could be crumbling before our very eyes. And to understand why, we have to look deeper into the pain that American families are feeling right now. Now, the data behind the despair. This potential swing isn't happening in a vacuum. It's being driven by a profound and persistent anxiety about affordability that is gripping the nation. The numbers paint a grim picture of reality for millions of Americans around the country. A recent poll shows that 7 in 10 voters rate the economy as only fair or poor. Even more telling, a majority of people in some polls believe economic conditions are getting worse. This isn't just abstract dissatisfaction. It's a daily struggle. It's the rising costs of groceries, the shock of the monthly energy bill, the rent check that takes a bigger and bigger bite out of the paycheck. People feel like they're running in place or even worse, falling behind. This widespread economic pessimism is now directly attaching itself to the White House and the leader in the White House. A recent AP NORC poll recorded Trump's approval rating on the economy at just 31 percentage points, a low point for either of his terms. Among his own party, approval for his handling of the economy has dropped, a clear sign that the pain of inflation and high costs is crossing party lines. When your own base starts to question your economic leadership, you are in trouble. The healthcare catalyst. As if the general anxiety over inflation wasn't enough, a specific and devastating policy issue is threatening to pour gasoline on the fire. Because of legislative gridlock, a major policy cliff is approaching. The Enhanced Affordable Care Act subsidies have ended at the end of 2025. The consequences could be immediate and catastrophic. Starting in January 2026, just as the midterm election year is kicking off, these subsidies are going to go away. Millions of families can open their mail to discover that these subsidies have gone away and their premiums have doubled or tripled, some going up by 500%. Think about the potential fallout of that. A family seeing their monthly premium double or triple will not be interested in hearing abstract economic theories like the stock market has gone up 1 or 2%. They will be looking for someone to blame. And since Republicans hold the White House, Congress, and pretty much the judiciary, they will get the blame. This single legislative reality will supply a monthly reminder to voters that Congress and the president have let them down on health care. It makes the concept of affordability a reality and a kitchen table issue that growth in the stock market and AI will not help. The mainstream media often misses the real story behind the numbers. If you believe in this kind of depth data analysis that we are providing you that connects the polls to reality, please take a minute and subscribe, like, and share the Spin Cycle. And hit the notification bell so you're aware of every upload we put on the internet. Your support allows us to cut through the noise and give you the stories that really matter. Thank you. A complete messaging collapse. So why is this happening? How could the Republican Party be losing its grip on its signature issue? The answer may lie in a staggering disconnect between the GOP's messaging and the lived reality of voters. While a majority of Americans say the economy is fair or poor, President Trump has projected an optimistic view of the economy, sometimes downplaying complaints about high cost. At a recent affordability tour stop in Pennsylvania, the president told the audience that his administration was crushing inflation. This isn't just a messaging problem, it's a credibility problem. When voters are struggling to pay for groceries and gas, being told that their problems are being solved can be alienating if it doesn't match their experience. It can show a fundamental lack of understanding, or worse, a lack of concern for their daily struggles. This dismissal of voter concern could be at the heart of any major swing. Even seasoned Republican strategists are sounding the alarm. Pollster Brent Buchanan of Signal has warned that the GOP's current approach is a recipe for defeat and that the party must recalibrate its message. He's calling for a pivot to an affordability message that directly addresses the cost of living and acknowledges how people feel. But so far, that advice seems to be competing with a narrative from the White House that is at odds with the economic data and the personal experience of the electorate. The path to midterm doom. This potential collapse with the economy-focused voters is now showing up in the broader electoral map for 2026. The generic congressional ballot, which asks voters which party they would support, is flashing multiple warning signs to the GOP across the board. Some recent polls show Democrats with a 5-point lead. If that trend holds, election models project that Republicans could be at risk of losing their House majority, which would hand the Speaker's gavel back to the Democrats. If we look just back at 2018, in which the Democrats had a 5-point lead in the generic ballot, they gained 40 seats in the House of Representatives, and the GOP held on to the Senate. The problem is compounded by the GOP's over-reliance on the Trump brand. Post-2024 election analysis shows that while Trump can win on the ballot, when he's not on the ballot, voters are willing to vote for Democrats in House elections, with split-ticket voting outcomes in several states. The 2026 midterms will be a direct test of this phenomena. Without Trump at the top of the ticket driving his specific coalition to the polls, the GOP's fundamental weakness with issues like affordability can be exposed. Historically, the party holding the White House almost always loses seats in the midterms. This is often referred to as midterm gravity. The Republican Party is not only facing this historical reality, but they are also flying into a maelstrom of shit of their own making by not addressing affordability. A storm of economic malpractice. The Senate map may be more favorable to the GOP. However, a wave of anger over affordability could put the Senate in play as well. An untenable position. The Republican Party may be standing at a dangerous precipice. A potential double-digit swing among economy voters is not just a bad poll number, it is a symptom of a much deeper problem. It could represent a fundamental breach of trust on the one issue where the GOP has always claimed supremacy. The party's current strategy of downplaying the economic pain felt by millions of Americans while their health care costs are set to potentially explode is politically risky. It has created a massive opening for Democrats who are hoping to be seen as more trusted to handle the defining issue of our time, affordability. Is the situation completely irreversible? No, there is still time for a course correction. If real wages begin to grow significantly, if the administration's tariff policies don't trigger further inflation, if housing and energy costs begin to ease, the GOP could potentially regain its footing. They could defy the midterm gravity that is putting them down. But that may require a dramatic pivot. It requires acknowledging the reality that voters are facing. It demands a substantive policy response, not dismissive rhetoric. The party might need to heed the warnings of pollsters like Brent Buchanan and recalibrate its entire economic message. As it stands today, the Republican Party is marching toward the 2026 midterms with a risky strategy that could alienate the very voters it needs to win. That potential 13-point swing is a clear and present danger. It is a warning shot fired by an electorate that may be running out of patience. And if the GOP fails to listen, it could very well be the sound that signals their coming doom.